Welcome to Audible Interlude, a G.I. Joe podcast. I am your host, Dave West, codename Phantom Troublemaker.
And I'm your co-host, Noel Wood, codename Crapshoot.
And I'm your Cobra intern that's going to shake, rattler, and roll.
See what
I like
you did there? I did.
Very nice. Follow us on Instagram at Audible Interlude Podcast and on X at G.I. Joe Audible. And follow us wherever you listen to your podcasts. Click that follow button under the show and then give us a 5-star review. Spread the word. Tell your friends about Audible Interlude. We have this live stream tonight right here on the Needless Things YouTube channel. The audio will be available this Friday wherever you get your podcasts. And on Wednesday, we're a little behind because DragonCon threw off our scheduling a little bit. On Wednesday, our review of Scarlet #4 will be available wherever you get your podcasts. So be sure to check that out. Tell your friends. The Needless Things YouTube channel, tons and tons of toy reviews all the time. Lots of G.I. Joe and G.I. Joe adjacent reviews right around the corner. Today, I got my pre-order shipping soon notification from Big Bad Toy Store for the Retro Cobra Trooper. And my understanding is that the Retro Stalker is now $9.17 on Hasbro Pulse. And then, of course, in October, it's just going to be tumbling mounds of action figures all month long.
So already Stalker's marked down to 917. Like I thought the whole Ross thing was done.
No, you want to know what? So I didn't have time to put this in the slides, but did you guys see that image I sent you of the Hayatoys Beachhead?
Yikes! I saw a picture of it. Yeah.
No,
it is
I don't
bad.
remember the one you sent me.
It's real bad. I don't know what happened between the images we saw 18 years ago and now, but it now looks like. And look, I have admiration for Fortnite, for their designs, for the way they incorporate current pop culture trends into everything that they do. However, saying that Beachhead looks like a Fortnite character in a line that is meant to be a 1/18th scale G.I. Joe line is not a compliment.
No.
So yeah, if Noel and Kristian, if you guys look in your messages, you'll see what I'm talking
about.
Yeah,
I'm looking at them right now.
It's not so good. You know what is good, though, is we have shirts and lots of them available from the the Needless Things TeePublic store. Go to Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram. Check the pinned stories. Get yourself a t-shirt and wait for a sale. Just wait for the sale. We make like no money when they're on sale, but I don't care. I just want people wearing Audible Interlude gear so that when we see you in person, we can give you a complimentary itty bitty ditty bag.
Hey, I get that reference.
Speaking of itty bitty ditty bags, we gave away a lot of them at DragonCon not this past weekend, the weekend before, and hopefully everybody was able to check out our excellent panel with Larry Hama and Andrew Lee Griffith. It was amazing. It could not have gone any better. We had the absolute best time talking to those guys, hanging out with the Joe fans. Scarlet and Snake Eyes, I believe, have been at every panel we've done at DragonCon for 10 years now. They're always awesome. Snake Eyes always stays in character.
Even his gloves were silent when trying to answer. It was amazing.
He applauded, made no noise. A true silent interlude. But that panel, the audio from that panel, is currently available wherever you get your podcasts. I highly recommend you check it out. Larry Hama is, of course, awesome. Andrew Lee Griffith had some really great stories about working with Joe, working with Larry. And we will be having him on the show sooner than later for a full feature episode. So everybody be sure and check that one out.
I have a real quick story about Andrew because I remember us talking to him and being like, yep, we're gonna have you on the show, giving him a card, and him saying, "Yeah, stop by my booth later." And it's Dragon Con, so you get all kinds of distracted. So much going on. So we always close out Monday by going to the art show. So I told my friends we have to stop by Andrew's booth. Hopefully he's still there. I've got to make sure he has a card, and I've got to make sure that he really meant it when he said, "I want to be on the show." So I get to his table. I'm having a conversation with him. We're talking a few minutes, and I'm thinking he absolutely knows who I am. And then it starts to click in from his answers. Oh, he has absolutely no idea who I am at this moment, because it's Dragon Con. How many
Sure.
has he
There's 80,000 of your closest friends. Come on.
So when I was like, "All right, well, listen, man, we gotta go. I am though super excited to have you on the podcast eventually. So I wanted to make sure I gave you a card." And he looks at our card and he's like, "You already gave me one of these at the panel. And now I actually know who you are." I had a lot of fun. All of a sudden, the conversation just
Yeah.
totally shifted. And I was like, "Oh, yeah, maybe introduce yourself when you go up and talk to people."
Wotaj says by that point he had seen a whole legion of cubs.
Yes.
Yeah, and then some. If you're in the comics and pop art room at Dragon Con, you have seen thousands of people by Monday. And they all blend together, because I know this is going to be shocking to some, but bearded dudes don't exactly stand out at Dragon Con.
Bearded dudes with glasses.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, even one step further, right. Like I can barely tell us apart sometimes. Well, cool. Yes, we will absolutely be having Andrew on the show sometime in the very near future. Speaking of guests, our pal Word Burglar will be joining us sometime in the next 20 minutes or so. He's got some stuff on the homestead to wrap up before he drops in. Wrap up. See what I did there?
Hey.
He's going to join us probably a little ways into the news. So hang out for that. Our next live stream is September the 23rd, 2 weeks from today. Nothing specific planned yet, but go ahead and put it on your calendars. And again, tell your friends to catch it live on the Needless Things YouTube channel. So we've got a little bit of news we can cover before Bergie drops in. I guess we'll go ahead and talk about the Rattler. So, Noel, you've backed, correct?
I did back.
Okay.
I backed it like last Monday or Tuesday.
Have you got a current count? Do you still have Hasbro Pulse pulled up?
I do. Let me refresh the page. It was last at 24,150. Let's see what it is right now. Yes, I'm in the United States. We are now at 24,257. So
24,257. So
Yeah.
we've got 4 hours left. Do you guys have predictions for where it's going to finish? Because we will not still be here at midnight. I'm going to say 28-2.
I was thinking around 28 because that just beats the Hiss tank.
All right, I'm gonna go for the gold then, because there isn't that much of a jump from 25 to 28. So I'm gonna say 30-01.
Woo!
Wow.
Okay, so Noel is 28.
Are we playing Price is Right rules?
Yes.
Yes.
So $1.
And Kristian, you're saying 30 even? Okay.
Yep.
So we did the same thing with the Dragonfly and never followed up. So I expect we will do that again with the Rattler.
Well, we didn't really get the follow up because the Dragonfly, if you remember correctly, crashed.
It
And
stopped counting.
Oh, that's
at
right.
that same number for like days.
That's right. We never did get. And you know what? Now that you're saying that, I think we did. eventually follow up on that.
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah,
hand
it
out
was
a,
like a month or so
Yeah,
later.
it was a while later, but I do think we circled back around on that one. So good for us.
yeah,
Speaking
someone
of good for
got
us,
an eel, I think, didn't they?
good
Was that?
for us that we've got so many people hanging out. Mini Pete actually remembered this time and is at work and needs something to keep him occupied. I hope you're not doing anything that requires your attention. Swordsman 007, Rexship 85, Rachel Salinas, or are you? JJ Shoulder Height, good to have you here. We missed you at Dragon Con,
Yes.
buddy. It's always good seeing you there, but we are glad to see you here tonight. And of course, Wotaj is in the house. We're going to have some fun tonight. So, Tier 3 unlocked, Rattler fully funded, all tiers unlocked. And we got to look at some of. Oh, look at this. Skeletron is in the house. That's right. Had no idea Skeletron was going to be in here, but look at that. A little marketing. Ha ha ha. Okay. So, back to the Rattler, we get a little look at some of the labels that are going to be included with the. I need to remember myself. Look at this. Skeletron. Some of the labels that are going to be included with the Rattler. Most of these are pretty cool. I don't know. I never customize this stuff. I want it how it comes out of the box. You know what I mean?
Yeah, same thing. I've got all the Sky Striker stickers and the Hiss labels, and they're just sitting there. They're just in a baggie.
Yeah. But look, I'm not even buying one. Well, I can't say that yet. We have a sound off to get to later on, so I've got to save that little secret. But I think this stuff looks cool, and I love that they're offering the customization options. I particularly like the Baroness on the bomb. I think that's cool.
That one I like. I am totally confused by Jousting Cobra Commander.
Oh, I love it. I wouldn't put it on my Rattler, but
right. No, if I saw
great.
that at somebody's booth at a show, and I was like, I'm going to put that on my laptop, it makes sense for Cobra to make that to put on a plane.
We need Rexship 85 to clear something up here because I don't get it. Rexship 85 says, I really enjoy the sticker referencing the bus wars.
Yeah.
Was that a reference to the comic where
it's a misprint on the file card. It's supposed to say the Bush Wars, but it says Bus Wars instead.
Oh, is it Wild Weasels?
Yeah, on Wild Weasels file card. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. That is a fantastic deep cut. That's fantastic. Okay.
I also like the family.
Let's see,
the Cobra family underneath the skull and crossbones.
Oh, that's hilarious. I didn't even notice that one. There's a ton of stuff on here. It's a lot of fun. And again, if I had, multiple Rattlers, I would definitely put just a bunch of silly stuff on one of them for sure. There's a closer look at the Baroness on the bomb. I think I love the best regards on it. Like, that's just really cool. And the style looks right to me.
And we've seen some pictures of the Baroness, and I'm pretty sure we are getting a comic inspired like 82 Baroness out of that too.
Yeah, Lenny shared a close up of the line art for the figure, and it is very clearly this Baroness. So yeah, I fully expect to see that. Rachel Salinas has got a deal on the board. Heads up, I'll be trading my patches for exclusive figures. I know what I got. That's right. All right, let's see here. Hang on, I got to do a little preview of the slides. I don't want to get too far. Okay, we've got one final thing. And Noel, I'm going to leave this to you for the commentary for this next one. Tell us what you're thinking here.
So yeah, I saw this pop up. Hasbro posted this earlier today, and this was probably a bad idea because the moment I saw this, I was like, what the heck am I going to do with this thing?
Because what I've been saying all along.
I knew it was going to be big, but just now seeing it in relation to, because I look over at my Hiss over there and it's ginormous. And this thing is longer, it's wider. I know the wings fold up, but that means it's going to be like 18 inches tall. It's not, I don't think it's going to be quite that tall, but still, it's going to occupy a lot of space in an already cramped room down here. So, yeah, but I got 3 hours and 45 minutes to change my mind.
Oh, you won't.
Well, and accidentally, when I finally backed it, I was telling you guys, I went and I, put my details in, and I was on my phone, and I submitted it, and it said, "Oh, there was an error," and I was like, "Ah, crud." So I went through and I placed a second order, and then a few minutes later, checked my email, and I've got 2 emails confirming that I ordered it. I was like, "Nope, I don't need to." Well,
sure you do.
Part of me was like, well, maybe I'll just leave that second one and hold the other one back for an investment. But I am still sitting on the his tank that I plan to eventually sell off too. So,
Swordsman 007 says, I don't know where I'm going to put my Robo Skull, but that's future Swordsman's problem. Mine is I've got an empty spot. If you can see some starships hanging up here, I've got an empty spot right over the desk just for that Robo Skull. Oh, man, comments are coming in fast. There we go. Will R. Exactly. It's why we have ceilings. The only problem is when the ceilings start to get full also.
yeah, I don't know if I trust my drop ceiling in here.
Yeah, that can become a little scary. You can hang it from cross pieces.
Well, and that's what, like, I have stuff that's hanging from those areas, and they're braced by like multiple points to distribute the weight a little bit more evenly. But even still, like my Sky striker that's right above me over here, it makes me a little nervous in that spot.
And you know that Rattler is going to be a heavy boy.
Yeah.
Well, can you turn your Lego village into Springfield?
Look,
and just make some space?
I haven't done anything with Lego in so long that I am not telling you that I have not contemplated just seeing if I could just get rid of all this stuff.
Oh my!
We're gonna ignore that Noel said that.
We're
gonna rewind.
Can you imagine the anxiety of hanging a large, heavy thing over your like custom handcrafted Lego city?
Yep, that's where it is. It's right
oh
above
my gosh!
It's right above the Chinese restaurant and the ice cream shop that I built.
Wow. Okay, one point of interest that I noticed from our Scarlet review that's going to go up on Wednesday, wherever you get your podcasts, is there are now print ads for G.I. Joe Wrath of Cobra, complete with a QR code to reserve your copy now from Steam. And I just realized I did the QR code and wanted to get it for PlayStation and forgot to ever go look and see if it's up on the PlayStation store yet.
Well, and I'm glad they are doing it because initially it was only going to be PC and Switch.
Well, initially it was only announced for PC and Switch. The same thing has happened with many other games like this, where due to the licensing issues and the submission process for Sony and for Microsoft, they can go ahead and announce it for PC. Like, certain consoles take less time to get approved than others. So very often you'll see like retro style games like this announced for Switch first, for PC first, and then down the road, PlayStation and Xbox announcements will come. I can't remember the last thing that had happened. I want to say it was there was a Retro Fest wrestling game that was the same way. Switch was actually announced first, and it was, I mean, it might have been a month before release before they finally announced it for PlayStation. And it's just that approval process takes different amounts of time.
Yeah.
But yes, you can reserve your copy now of G.I. Joe Wrath of Cobra. We talked about the demo a couple of months ago. It was tremendously fun to play. And once all three of us have it, we will absolutely be figuring out how to stream a live session of playing this game. We are going to need my son's help to do it, but we are going to figure it out.
If you thought our singing was bad,
wow.
You've seen nothing yet.
Wait till you see our gaming.
Now, does it support like multiplayer co-op?
I think so.
Awesome.
I believe so. Let's see. What is up next? I tell you what, next, I'm going to remove this. And Kristian, has got a little news nugget. Well, more than a nugget, a news meal for us.
Yeah, that just dropped today. So a while back, we had heard that Hasbro was going to be partnering with some other companies to do stuff, yada, yada, yada. So today it drops that Loyal Subjects has partnered with Hasbro to add some Hasbro IP to their toy legacy line. So when I first saw this, all it mentioned was Gem, My Pet Monster, Popples, Rom, and Mask, which we have been begging for on this podcast for a long time. But something I did some more digging, and I found the actual toy book that was handed out in LA where this was announced. And outside of that article, there's other little articles. And in one of the other articles, they mention specifically about ROM. So this is where I want everybody to kind of think when we're thinking, oh, we're getting new mask stuff. So their deal says that they are going to get to reproduce the original ROM figure in the same scale and same style as part of the legacy line. So when I started looking at it and I'm like, oh, there's other toys that they have done in this legacy line, and it's like slightly updated versions of the original.
Oh, they've already done. Oh, they've done like strawberry shortcake and stuff, right?
Correct. So like the
Okay.
strawberry shortcake and the Rainbow Bright have super articulated bodies. And in the toy book, and I think also on social media, you'll see that they did show the Gem prototype, which when I look at the articulation they have on her, honestly, she looks like a 6-inch action figure because she has like the same joint styles as like a Star Wars Black Series.
All right, hold on just a second, because I can see we've got somebody who is itching to add some input to this conversation about classic retro toys. Ladies and gentlemen, live from the Wordburg Lair, our pal and yours, with a brand new single that we're going to talk about in just a minute here. Please give it up for the Wordburg Lair!
Yo, Joe, I logged on and I heard Gem. I was like, what? New Gem figure? Are they finally doing the Bumblebee band? Whatever they were called. Yeah, I've been waiting for that. Although I think maybe they did those. Hi, everybody. Welcome to. Hi. I mean, I'm here. So hi.
You are
feels
welcome.
good to be welcome.
It is good to have you here. So you dropped
the
into
buzz
the middle
bar
of the
was
news.
like spinning me around before I got here. So apologies.
Well, you came on to the G.I. Joe podcast and we're talking about Gem and Mask and Rom, but you know how we do.
It's all Joe adjacent. Come on.
That's right.
Oh,
That's
absolutely.
Right.
No, I got mad love for Gem, of course.
Well, and Jim and Mask are both in the universe.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
That's
so
right.
Kristian
now
was wrapping up a little Loyal Subjects news for us.
But hearing you say that the buzzbore was spinning you around, I totally need a word burglar buzzbore spin me round like a record. However you need to change it, like it's there.
I mean, it's one of those, it's one of the only vehicles that does have that. There's like a He-Man one that's like a sideways buzzbore.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Weirdly, I had that one too. I think it may have been the only He-Man vehicle I had. I don't remember what it's called.
The Roton.
Yes,
I've got the new one back. I've got a couple of the new ones because they went on clearance back over here.
Oh.
I always thought whatever General Grievous rode around in was inspired by the buzzbore too.
Oh yeah, yeah,
right, yeah, exactly.
G.I. Joe influencing
everything,
the world, the universe.
Right.
It really did influence everything in some scary ways too. But so Loyal Subjects, just refresh my brain. Are they kind of like the Kid Robot-y type designer toys. Is that what I'm thinking of?
Some
Is that
of their
Loyal Subjects?
that's kind of where they got started, but a few years ago they launched a line called it's BST AXN, and they're like 5-inch-ish super articulated figures. The construction is okay, but they did a ton of licenses. They did Kiss, Big Trouble in Little China, a bunch of anime stuff. They hit it Funko style, like tons of licenses without a big focus on anything really. But now, the well, in addition to the news that they're going to be doing a full size ROM, I guess, replica, but the real big news is
Mask. So if they are following the same sort of deal that they have with ROM, because if you all remember, ROM is a 12-inch figure, so he's not going to fit with anything else. Is the Mask figures going to be the same scale that they originally were? And while that does excite me, and yes, I will get them, it also kind of breaks my heart because I'm like, I really wanted that, at least 3 3/4 inch Mask figures, even if you can't do the vehicles necessarily. At that
but
scale.
why? But as we've talked about on the show before, though, why couldn't you? Because they're doing the Transformers crossovers. I mean, I got to think Mask would be now. Granted, Mask does not have the fan base that Transformers have, so that crossover appeal to bring that customer in is not as much there. But I'm also wondering, realistically, where is the fan base for the 1/24th scale Mask stuff? Because supposedly they're doing vehicles, figures, everything, the whole deal.
Right. So I'm curious to see as the planning stages go on, what this turns out to be. And also, I tried to do some digging because it's a lot of IP that Hasbro tossed at them. And it makes me wonder, these are IPs, and I hate saying this about Mask, but I do know this about Gem. These are IPs that Hasbro doesn't have any faith in. They know there's niche markets out there, but they've been more successful licensing like Gem to Integrity Toys to do, hyper expensive dolls. So we have been saying, based off of their quarterly reports, obviously their faith in G.I. Joe keeps going up and up because the sales on G.I. Joe classifieds keep going up and up. But I would be lying if I said I wasn't a little heartbroken that Hasbro doesn't think that they can put out a quality Mask figure and make money.
But at the same time, they may just be testing the waters. Think about what Mattel did with Masters of the Universe and Super 7. They were like, okay, we've kind of hit the end of the road with the Masters line. We're going to turn it over to Super 7, let them do something. Super 7 found great success, and Mattel was like, give that back to us. We need that back. I can see Hasbro doing the same thing.
And that was another thought that I had, especially when it comes to ROM, because when I saw, that their deal was to do the original ROM, I was like, why would they, did they not see the reaction of everybody at San Diego? But San Diego was only like a month ago. So these deals and conversations have been happening way before that.
They were in place a long time ago.
It's weird. I wonder if ROM, I mean, considering I just think of like the entire entity of all of these properties. So Mask, awesome toy line, animated show, catchy theme song, okay episodes. Let's be honest, comic book series, not non-issue, no pun
not
intended.
memorable.
Not memorable. Where ROM, there's a single figure that has like the highest ROM per capita comic book series ever. It just ran like 80 issues off one single toy, and it has a lot more cachet within like sort of Marvel comic book readers and a long time. So it's interesting to weigh the two.
And
About-
it amuses me in the little blurb that you kind of have to dig to find about the ROM figure. They say, the rights to do ROM original scale, blah blah blah, and all the other figures from the toy line. And I'm like, what other figures? There was ROM.
It's going to turn
That's
into like
it.
Batman in the 90s, where they just like released a whole bunch of different like
Oh, man.
glowing and colored and
I need
accessorized.
underwater assault ROM.
Yeah.
That's all I'm waiting for.
Oh my gosh.
Arctic attack ROM. Let's
Right.
go.
Do we need that?
No, we
I mean,
do.
yeah.
What need? Define need. Come on.
Like for this stuff, I would love, like, if they're doing these like the original toys, that's fine. The original ROM toy, I obviously wasn't around when it came out. I have seen it, I've held it, I've played with it, I guess, but it didn't set my world on fire.
Yeah.
But Mask toys, of course, I love Mask. They're amazing. I mean, I always dreamed, like many, that we would get O-ring Mask and like O-ring size vehicles, because that's my favorite scale of anything. And last time I was here, we did an extensive O-ring chat. And with Super 7 and the reaction, yeah, if they were doing the O-ring reaction or whatever that's called, Reaction Plus, as Mask figures,
Oh man.
oh, that'd be crazy. I would
Yep.
like to see Loyal Subjects tackle something like Inhumanoids, but do them as good figures, because the Inhumanoids toys, sorry, I'm like one of the world's biggest Inhumanoids fans. Toys kind of
Then-
suck.
Yeah.
Then
Oh no.
you
There's,
should-
there's not much
You
to
should
'em.
flip it, and we should see Super 7 doing humanoid figures, because Dave mentioned,
Yes.
they did that ATX best whatever blah 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 line, and so in some of my errands today, I stopped by Ross, as I often do, and I was like, well, let's see, because they've had the Ninja Turtle sitting
Yeah,
there
yeah.
for a while. So
Mhm.
I got 3 Ninja Turtles, April and Slash, and
They're okay.
I give them a B for effort. Like, they're trying to do what Figure Arts and other toy lines have done much better.
Yeah, but you got to consider the price point of these things.
Oh,
They're under.
yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, there's room for improvement, and maybe that's what this is. I do hope that they're using a slightly better type of plastic, because April looks like their flesh tone plastic. It needs to be painted, because she kind of looks
Yeah,
like she's been dead
it's a little ghosty.
for a while. Like, you know how the Mego figures get that zombie look? That's how she looks.
Imagine original scale Mask figures, but with that best action articulation.
Oh yeah.
Like I think that could be very cool. But until we see some product, it's pie in the sky stuff. I mean, we really don't know exactly what they're going to be doing. When they say vehicles, well, what does that mean? And Best Action has done a vehicle. They made a motorcycle for one of the Raphael Ninja Turtle figures, and it's real big. That's all I'm going to say. It's a very, very large motorcycle. So scaling, I'll be interested to see how that works out as well. But exciting news. Look, any expansion of those old licenses that we love is, again, testing the waters, looking for success. If Loyal Subjects do well with their offerings, then maybe we do see stuff from Super 7. Maybe we do see Hasbro add things to that Transformers crossover line in some way. It's just testing consumer interest at this point, I think.
A HasLab Masked Joe crossover. Yes, please take my money.
Are we talking Rhino?
No, I was thinking more like
really?
the Switchblade.
I mean, I don't think that would be a HasLab, though, would it?
Oh, if you put all the
Well, yeah,
transforming
if it's
components
1/18
in there,
scale, if it's 1/18 scale, it is a HasLab, isn't it?
I suggested, I was suggesting a 1/12 scale mask as a potential HasLab at one point in time.
Yeah.
Or even a 1/18th like Boulder Hill.
Oh my gosh.
Mm.
Whew, that'd be big because the original one was huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
did I
you
tell
gotta
you
have
guys
some place to gas up your vamp and your
my
ferret. Come on.
when I don't know exactly how old I was, but my friend Ryan had all of the Mask toys. Gosh, I must have been like maybe 11, 12-ish, right around there, like right around the age where you're supposed to get out of toys. Well, my friend Ryan developed an intense interest in soccer and didn't care about toys at all anymore. And with the permission of his father, gave me all of his Mask stuff. And I remember bringing it home, and my mom was like, "What is this? You can't just take this." And I'm like, "No, it's." And she had to call Ryan's dad, and he was like, "Nobody cares. Just it's fine."
Yo, Ryan's dad, mad props to that guy.
Ryan's dad ruled. He was definitely like
Ryan's dad ruled.
he was the cool dad for
I'm gonna
sure.
make a song called that now. That's awesome.
All right, we got to loop back because we got big word burglar news. First of all, I want to say the new single is absolutely awesome, The War in Wardrobe, which is something that we have discussed on the show before. Is who designs this stuff? Who makes this stuff? Tell us how this came to be.
It was maybe 1987 or 88, and I was playing with, Techno Viper and Crocmaster and Big Boa and Raptor and Wild Weasel, and looking at everybody thinking, which one of these guys made their own costume? I don't think any, and then I've just like always wondered in the back of my mind. And of course, spending a lifetime obsessed with all this stuff and just loving it. It was just one of those things, right? It's kind of like with Rap Viper. I was like, there's got to be at least one rapper in Cobra, right? And it was, cross stitch kind of came to me. It was always in the back of my mind, and slowly started developing it. And when I finished Welcome to Cobra Island, I definitely had ideas for like 100 more songs. And this was kind of always on like this list of like, the guy who makes the guy who makes the uniforms, who's their combat engineer, like what is his story? Who is he? Where's he coming from? So I basically just wrote this whole backstory about this character. I've got the dossier on him. I've got the file card. And he the song just kind of came together once I had all that information in my mind. I was just sitting down working on the beat with fresh kills, and yeah, the song just wrote itself, just because Cobra, you can't imagine these Cobra troops are out shopping for their own gear.
No.
And somebody's got to oversee it, and they've got to have a military background, but they also have to have some kind of like theatrical flair, some theatrics background. So yeah, the backstory in a nutshell was, he was basically booted out of the army for, trying to apply too many neon colors and getting all these like Article 15s, like uniform, basically like, whatever, like this whole backstory getting kicked out. And and then he just he found work working in the theater, working off Broadway, developing crazy pyrotechnics and incorporating that into his costumes, and with his knowledge of weaponry and gear, and then his love of zesty costuming. And then this theater burned down, and then I won't get into all the details. There's going to be a whole graphic novel, 8-ish. This will be like a ROM length comic book series about him.
Yes. Let's go.
But this was all in my brain coming up to it, and then he got into the criminal underground, and criminals started hiring him to design like their costumes for him, and then he caught the eye of the enemy, and next thing you know, Cobra Commander, who also had a penchant for the theatrics, brought him on board, and he's like, "You're gonna help me start these costumes, these uniforms." So, anyways, that's a really long. That's a sad window into my brain.
I'm putting this out there. Right now. We're following the Skybound comics. We have talked about how the main G.I. Joe title is going forward as the primary ongoing, and that we're hoping to see like side projects continue, because right now they run 2 miniseries at a time. I'm hoping they're going to continue doing like a miniseries, a one shot. I'm putting it out there right now. Skybound. We know Shannon at Skybound hooks us up every month. We need a word burglar written one shot about cross stitch, official continuity. We need to see how Cobra Commander meets this guy. It needs to be a real thing. I want it now.
Dude, well, it would be my honor. I'm ready to pitch. I sent many unanswered pitches to IDW and Marvel when I was like 9. But
Sure.
yeah, I've got my Skybound stack right here.
Yes.
Scarlet, Destro, Cobra Commander. This one, non-Skybound, but All-Star Composite Superman. Shout out my bro, Dave Howlett. Put out this bootleg. If you can find this, check out Strange Adventures. They'll ship you a copy.
Okay.
A must read. Yeah, this kind of bootleg, beautiful All-Star Composite Superman. And Ninja Turtles. It was pretty good. Jason Aaron. But yeah, thank you. I would love to do that. It'd be super, super fun.
I would love to read that. And if we could get shout out, I'm going to throw it back up here one more time. Huge shout out to the artist who created, look, all of the Easter eggs in this are insane. Okay, this is
that's
same artist.
Dave Howlett, same artist. Yep.
Okay.
So, and Brian Sauer, who did all the coloring and the logo and stuff, he added in the colors, and Brian knows his Joe. Yeah, the His Tank sewing machine, a must.
Crazy.
And
I never know I needed one until I saw this.
Right.
Somebody posted on His Tank. I just saw it today, and they figured out all the camouflage in wardrobe, like they figured out all the patterns, which is fun little trivia. And the helmets. There's one helmet that keeps throwing people off, but
oh, interesting.
Fans of 90s Joe, which I am. Like I envisioned. So cross stitch, his design, I worked on. I kind of did like my rough pencil sketches, and I sent them around to a few buddies. Shout out my buddy Kieran and Cody and Dave, and everyone kind of had notes on like how to make it a little better. And Brian, and when I was envisioning him and his color scheme and everything, I was like, this guy, like if he was a figure, or when he becomes a figure, I saw him as like a Battle Corp era, like a 92, 93. Bright colors, but he's still like a solo new character, because I think like Gristle might be the very last official new Cobra or Cobra adjacent character to ever be introduced. So I figured he would have cross stitch would have been there with Gristle or like right after him, and then he got canceled and pulled from the line. Like I was just like, this guy, like I thought it all through. I'm like, if this really fit, like Rap Viper is like a 1990 guy, maybe in 1991, and I see cross stitch as being like 93. But
I love that depth.
No,
I love
again.
That
I think
depth
too much
thought.
about this stuff. Yeah,
but that's what makes us want this stuff to be real. Is when you sit down and you think realistically, where would this have fallen in what we know? That's what makes this kind of stuff magic and like fun. Is really putting that kind of thought into it is what makes sense. So it's like all these O-ring lines that are coming out now. You can kind of look at each one of them and see where they might have fit in the Joe continuity. Some are post 86, some maybe 90s, some maybe earlier. Like it's fun to slot this stuff into what we know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this is all fun. I mean, all these tracks, like the Cobra tracks, it's just so much fun to make. And I'm glad you get, I'm glad you get something from it. It's, because I've always when I started doing these songs a million years ago, it was like, yeah, maybe a couple of my friends will get this stuff, but it's so fun when other people can be like, oh yeah, I get that reference. So it's cool.
So the song, you can listen to the song on YouTube, but you can also go to Bandcamp and get a download of it with a B-side that blew my mind, because remixes are fun. I dig a good remix, but the guy with the disguises, which everybody knows from Welcome to Cobra Island, there is an Imposter Syndrome remix by Type 4 that is absolutely just killer. It almost put me in mind of like Farside, maybe a little bit.
Yes.
Got some jazzy stuff in there. Just killer remix. So when you're having a remix made, is it literally just, look, here's the track, take it and do what you want with it? Or do you have an idea of, like, this would be a cool idea for a remix? How does that process work?
Oh man, well, first of all, shout out Type 4, Matt from out of Boston who made that beat. We've worked together a few times. Remixes, I'm so glad you picked up on all of that stuff. I love the original tracks. Whenever I put out a track, it's like I truly love this song. I don't put out any music that I am not in love with or proud of. And so remixes are always like, oh, I don't want to go back and gum up the works. And I always loved that track, that guy with the disguises. And looking at Cobra Island, I was like, yeah, it'd be interesting to see if we can flip it because Zartan is master of disguise. So if we were to, like, it makes sense for a remix for a Zartan song. But again, it's got to be completely different from the original, but retaining the vibe and everything. So really with that, I mean, I don't think I really gave Matt any like solid. I was just kind of like, here, go have fun with this, see what you come up with. And he just got it instantly. Like he understands the vibe, he understands the song and the lyrics. And I mean, he cooked it up. That's full credit to Type 4. And I've worked on a lot of remixes and sometimes they don't come out, but this one I was like, oh, this will work. And it's the perfect pairing for like this double single with cross stitch. They're both costume themed,
Right.
disguise theme. And yeah, it just came together. But Farside's a great combo, a comparison, sorry. Yeah, jazzy, funky, and it gives you a new take on the lyrics. I think it kind of breathes this different aura into the song. And
It totally does.
yeah, so I'm glad you like it. And yeah, it's Name Your Price on Bandcamp. So anyone listening who just wants to check it out, it's just free. Just type in 0 and you can just download the tracks and enjoy.
Don't type in 0.
Well, I do appreciate every little bit. It'll help me make more faster. So
That's
I'm
right.
always going to make more, but if you can contribute something, I can do it a little faster.
we all, everybody here, we all know how that works. Is every
Yeah.
contribution just goes towards more creation.
Yeah. So much appreciated. But yeah, just having fun, right? Just having fun. And
That's right.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Have you seen, obviously you're going to be familiar with Gridiron Studios and the crazy
Yes,
stuff that they're producing.
Amazing.
So let's talk a little bit about this beast. Have you guys all seen this thing?
I have not seen that.
This is an APC add-on for the Stinger. It blew my freaking mind because the first time I saw pictures of it, I thought they had just produced this whole entire vehicle. I mean, they've got a howitzer to mount on the top, but the back compartment is what's really just crazy to me, where you've turned the Stinger, which I love the Vamp, but once I got the Stinger, I was like, oh, this is it. This is the one. But then seeing this, this is nuts, man.
And the photo that they have, because when you look at that, you see, okay, you can fit like 2, 3 more figures in the back, which how is that in APC? And they have another photo that just shows all these Cobra Troopers hanging off of the sides. It looked like that photo from the Toy Fair catalog of the Snowcat. It was just like, wait, logistically, how is this happening?
Right.
But
well,
it looks awesome, and I need it.
Do you? Are you? Is it? It's
Like
you?
I told you, if I can find ever a good deal on a second Stinger, this will be the very next purchase. Because much like you, when I saw it on their website, I thought, holy crap, they produced a vehicle.
I mean, it looks like a completely different vehicle.
Yep.
I mean, granted, the tires are adding a lot to that as well because these are Gridiron tires.
That's amazing. I just love that the creativity that they're using to build off this. Oh my, I'm blown away. I'm just like looking around. I don't have space for that right now.
Well, right. And the fact that it's like legit product. This
Yeah.
is not, here's a thing we're going to take pre-orders for and you'll get it a year from now. Like, they're making this stuff lickety split. Like, it's coming out as the products are being released. It's wild.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which-
Super smart, super
And
creative.
you can, I mean, even if you couldn't find a deal on a second second Stinger, you can buy SRP Stinger and that and still have over $100 left to spend before you've reached the cost of the Rattler. Granted,
yeah,
that
that's very
can't
true.
fly, but if you're like, yeah, I want, some custom beefed up vehicles, but I don't want to spend $300 and something dollars, they're giving you the options.
Mm. Now, does this work? I don't have the Stinger or the Vamp, the classified. I've got the Hiss, and I've got the Ram or Mirage or whatever they called the motorcycle, the Cobra cycle, the one with Baroness and
the
Oh,
Coil.
coil.
the Coil. Yeah. Are the Vamp and the Stinger like almost the exact same mold? Like, would this work on the Vamp?
Yes.
Okay.
Although I
Color
would
clash.
expect them to release something just like this in Vamp colors. Like,
was
that wouldn't
thinking-
surprise me at all.
When I was thinking they could do one in Vamp colors that actually has
The
more
top.
of the canvas top, yeah,
Yeah,
to make
yeah.
it look more like the actual APC.
That they truly are some creative geniuses over there at Gridiron, doing absolutely incredible work.
In the pictures that you have, because I totally didn't notice, did it include the photos that showed what it looks like when it's detached? Because
Those were
they
not in the
do-
ones that I saved.
So they have also released some photos to show you, without saying it's a maggot, it can give you those vibes because it can detach right from the back of the Stinger. The
I keep going too
levelers
far.
go down,
Right, there they
and
are.
it turns into a battle station
Right.
on its own. So
Oh,
more
man.
bang for your buck, I guess.
And this all just hooks onto the back of the Stinger, connecting at the I guess the bar where the point where the cannon mounts. I'm dying to get it, but my gosh, it's just not practical for me. But it
Remember
looks
those
awesome.
hooks they had on the back of the O-ring ones? Like the little hook at the back, and you could attach
Oh,
like
yeah.
yeah,
cow or
yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Trailer hitch.
Yeah, the little hitch. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what it's called.
So
Those
anyway,
were so good.
this-
When did they stop putting those on vehicles? No,
The classified stuff has
Yeah.
them.
They've got one.
okay.
They've
because
made a
you can
point.
haul the SMS with the Stinger or the Hiss tank.
Yeah, the Hiss
Sweet.
actually has a little fold down one like underneath that you don't even notice if you don't get in there and mess with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
But yeah, just wanted to point this out and wanted to shout out to Gridiron Studios. If anybody has not given them a look, go check out their website and see just the absolutely incredible stuff that they're doing. I would say it seems inevitable that they're going to launch their own independent stuff, which they have done to an extent with like their drones and stuff. But at the same time, they're having so much success with these add-ons. Why mess with the formula?
And they've expanded that drone line quite a bit. So I do think what you just said is a sooner rather than a later. I would not be surprised if we saw something before the end of the year.
A full vehicle would not surprise me, but also they are not going to do something that is a Joe vehicle. Like, they're not going to do a Robin Toys type thing. All right. Well, we got to move on. And we are Skeletron was hanging out a little bit earlier. They might have had some business to take care of, maybe something to shoot out of the sky. But we got to talk a little bit about some Robo Skull updates. The 4-inch Jungle Wolf Troopers have shipped from the factory, which means they are on their way here. This is some beautiful art by Alex Horley. I dig this because it has a very predatory look to it. Can't wait to get my hands on more of these figures, I guess. There it is. Look at that thing. That is the production model of the Robo Skull Mark II, and something that I hadn't really, because there's so much to this. They're little bits and pieces that over time have processed in my brain as we go along. Look at that beautiful translucent red canopy on top. I don't know that I had really noticed that that's what it was, but it's this translucent red. It's incredible. So the Robo Skull Mark II, Robo Skull Mark II Special Edition, and Elite Flight Stands are nearly complete, hopefully in our hands in October, which is perfect. What better month to receive this flying skull of doom?
I know. I want to hang it on my porch and trick or treaters. It's so cool. I mean, Skeletron's amazing.
Put one of those little LED flickering candles inside of it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh man.
All right. What else have we got? We have got. I love seeing the steel molds. I just think it's the coolest thing in the world. This is the new Robo Knight heavy metal armor steel mold. If you remember, they had to retool this so that the armor would meet their expectations. They're awaiting results from the first new test shots now. They expect will be coming relatively soon. And again, props to Skeletron for, rather than hanging on to everything and shipping it all at once, shipping it as they get it, keeping us going with this stuff as it comes in. So we're going to have our Robo Skulls, and then a little down the line, we'll get that heavy metal armor. A little down the line, we'll get the Wolf Trooper. Like, I actually like that we're getting this cool staggered release, because I'll tell you right now, as somebody who reviews toys, I don't need to be reviewing everything that I backed from the Robo Skull Kickstarter in one shot. I don't need to be doing 6-hour reviews over here. Let's see.
Well, exactly. And it almost feels like you're part of a subscription service or
Yes.
something, right?
Yes.
And you get we got the little drones, we got the O-rings, like they're incredible. The record, I mean, all these great little things that keep shipping, and each one just makes me want the next one even more, because the quality has been just phenomenal. And yeah, it's amazing. I can't believe the thing is almost here. It's nuts.
And I feel like somebody we know might have had something to do with that record. Is that, do we know
Yeah.
anything about that?
I don't know. Yeah. Well, I got the O-ring. I mean, look, man, these are so cool. These are,
Oh, I
you guys
know.
have them.
And well, and the fact that they did that alternate card back for it
Yeah.
too, with the Doug Hart art for Joe Fest was
so good.
Yeah. They
So
know
good.
what they're doing. And as we always say, take your time, give us good product. We will wait for it. So this is a test shot of the Red Shadows 6-inch Wolf Trooper. We've got a nice kind of standard selection of poses here, but here you get a really good look at that backpack and those 6 claws. Again, cannot wait to get these in hand. Although I will say at this point in time, I'm a little shocked we're getting Operation Monster Force before we're getting the Skeletron stuff, the Robo Skull stuff. But that's okay. I'm ready for all of it.
And you're getting it all.
Yeah, right.
The same month.
And then finally, test shot components for all of the 6-inch figures: the Wolf Trooper, the Gyre Wolf, the Pilot Character Kit, and the 6-inch Jungle Wolf Trooper are all in pro, except for Skeletron, who's lagging behind everything else. But again, you know, it's almost fitting. Save that Skeletron figure for last. Let that be the crown on top of the achievement. I'm good with that.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I love that green too on the Jungle Trooper. That's
nice. I cannot wait. You know, these are going to look so good in hand. That final production piece, with the dedication to quality that Ben and the team have shown, you just know it's going to be great stuff. I can't wait to get it all in hand. Well, I can wait, because like I said, wait, give us good stuff. Don't rush anything. Any of these companies that are working on stuff. Speaking of which, one more update that we've got from our pals doing call sign longbow. We have got well, first of all, the ghost figure is on the water because they are following suit with Skeletron. The ghost figure is done, packaged, ready to go. So they said, you know what? Go ahead and send it. We're going to ship it out. So the ghost figure is on the water. They're expecting it to ship around the end of September. So again, come October, we're going to have some ghosts. Woo! And then we've got our first test shots of Lancer from the new tool. So we've got a bunch of parts here, and this I love as well. Look at those little sprues, those little trees hanging out on the parts. The looks at the production process are so much fun. So we're excited about Call Sign Longbow, and then they're also working on the second issue of the Call Sign Longbow comic book. So to follow this up, all of our friends that are working on their own independent toy lines are going to be hanging out at Assembly Required, presented by Codename Iowa. This is November 8th and 9th. This is an Iowa G.I. Joe convention. And once again, I do believe somebody we know is going to be in attendance at Assembly Required. What is happening at this thing? Oh, you're muted.
Oh.
Hello, can you hear me? Breaker,
Yes.
breaker, 1, 2.
We appreciate the courtesy mute. Though.
All right. Yeah. The courtesy of me, like my drooling. Oh, this looks. Call Sign Longbow looks so good.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, Larry Hama's going to be there. That's what I was going to say at Assembly Required. And yeah, I'll be there too. It was just announced. So super pumped to get to Des Moines. Never been to Iowa. Iowa Joe. That's what I hear.
There you go.
So, yeah, it's gonna be great. So hopefully, if anybody listening or anyone on this call can make it down, it'd be really good to meet so many people that I've only met sort of online and stuff. So,
oh, Rachel's got a good question for you: attendance or performance?
both. I'll be there.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So there you go. There's a concert in the works right now. I don't know if it's been officially announced, but yeah, I will be doing. I think there's a performance that's going to happen on the Friday night, and then I'll be hanging around at the show, just nerding out, trying to find some Secto Viper pistols and stuff. You know, just regular con stuff.
do you legit need a Secto Viper pistol?
Always. Yeah, I love my Secto Viper. So yeah, if you got some extras, we can do a trade. We can talk.
I bought a Secto Viper at Joe Fest last year, and for some reason it came with 2 pistols.
What?
I will get a PO box or whatever from you after the show. And because I actually want to send you a little Audible Interlude care package anyway, since you're part of the team. So I'll throw that in there.
Well,
We'll
that's very kind, and I will reciprocate. So
Absolutely.
I like the barter trade, especially when it's nostalgia.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That Toy Karma is good stuff.
I want to toss out real quick about Assembly Required. If you guys have not been to their website, please check out their online store. It's not just passes to the con. They have 6-inch scale arcade machines. If you want a Code Slither arcade machine to go with your G.I. Joe classifieds, they have, and there's only 2 left. And I'm contemplating getting one. They have a classified Eco Warriors custom set to turn any one of your classified figures into an Eco Warriors green shirt. So there's all kinds of Joe merchandise on there, and the Cold Slither shirt that Word Burglar is wearing is available on there.
Okay, so I remember Mark II Designs, who has been on the show, posting about this Eco Warriors green shirt kit. So we know Mark II Designs does incredible stuff. This is awesome.
It is. So
they've got all kinds of interesting.
They've got all kinds of stuff on there. The Eco O cereal box is also calling my name. So
They had a bunch of merch at Joe Fest. I picked up several T-shirts, actually little clearance T-shirts. They were doing like 3 for $25, so I picked up a few of those.
Oh, they did what I was gonna do. So these arcade cabinets are the Fortnite arcade cabinets, I think, and I was gonna print up stickers because they ended up at Ollie's on
Right.
clearance, and I bought a bunch of them, and my intent had been to print up stickers to put on them, and I just never got around to it.
Same, but they actually did it.
They actually did
And
it.
honestly, they're $16. They only have 5 left. If you go on eBay or Big Bad, the other companies that are making the exact same things, there's no electronics in them.
Right.
They're $40-50. So
Yeah,
it's a
this is
good
bargain.
deal. And you're supporting another Joe convention.
I like the names on the side of the Cold Slither one: Z-Man, Sticks, Strummer, and Tickles. I want to know which one Tickles is.
I want to know, does the game play like the old Journey arcade game?
Whoa.
Like,
guessing-
are you bouncing on drums?
Well, who was the
During it?
keyboardist? Because I'm guessing that's who Tickles.
Oh, yeah, that would be Tickle. You're right. Tickles the Ivories. You're right.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
right. Good call. I don't remember who did what in Cold Slither. Well, they were all pretending to play anyway, so I guess
true.
it really was interchangeable. All right. Next up, we have got to talk about something really interesting, because toy companies don't tend to do this kind of stuff all that often, but Hasbro, through the G.I. Joe Instagram, is taking nominations for a G.I. Joe Hall of Fame. Now, the way they did it, I find to be a little weird, but we'll talk about that. But the first ballot is for the original Action Joe 1964 figures. Totally makes sense. This one is like a shoe-in for a vote. You have to determine from the first year of Joe which of these goes into the Hall of Fame. And the idea of this, and I think one of the reasons I like this so much, everybody knows I'm a big fan of the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast, and every year they do a Wrestling Figure Hall of Fame where they nominate figures from all of the different wrestling lines to go into their Hall of Fame, like going all the way back to like LJNs up to current day. And so G.I. Joe, they're doing something similar here. So we're going to kind of go through these and just hit on them a little bit, because you can actively vote for this now. It's a Google document that if you go to the pinned stories on the G.I. Joe Instagram, I believe you can still vote. But out of these selections, and look, we're not trying to put anything over on anybody here. This is one of the facets of Joe that I have the least personal connection with, if I'm being honest. But if I gotta put a vote in for this, out of these, my vote is Action Sailor, because I'm all about the aquatic stuff. To me, that one has a ton of play value. I mean, they all do, obviously. But if you guys are voting for 1964 Joes, which one of these gets your vote?
I'm going Action Soldier because I feel like he's the core Joe figure.
That's fair. The standard bearer.
Well, I, as usual, am on the same page as our good friend Wreckship85, and we're going Action Sailor.
Oh, that's 3 Action Sailors.
I gotta go Soldier. Yeah.
You know, and Noel brings up a good point. That is the default Joe.
That's he's G.I. Joe. Yeah.
Right. If we're talking Hall of yeah, I got to change my vote. I got to go with Action Soldier.
But here's
You're right.
I mean,
here's
he's
my
Joe.
issue,
His
though.
face is on the box. He's
Right.
the guy who
Yeah.
talks.
That's
He's got
him
the
right
kung
there.
fu- It's G.I. Joe. He
But
is
my
G.I.
thing
Joe.
with these Hall of Fames, especially if they do this like they do the Transformers Hall of Fame, Everybody
did they?
gets
I didn't
in.
know that was a thing. They've done that.
Oh yeah,
before?
every year they
Oh,
do
okay,
a vote,
okay.
and it's a Transformers Hall of Fame, and they're like, oh, this year, it's Springer, RC, Cliff Jumper, but it's like whoever doesn't get in this year, is going to get in next year, because obviously the first year was like Optimus. Like it's always the most popular characters first, and then sprinkle in
So
some.
it's like the WWE Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Only
So
that one is whatever city they're in.
So I get it that Action Sailor, if you say G.I. Joe, is honestly what most people will think. But when you phrase the question, oh, Hasbro of mine favorite Action Joe, then
See, I look at it as let's say this is the only year we're doing the Hall of Fame. Which one of these goes in for all eternity? To me, it's got to be the soldier. The Noel and Bergie were right. Like that's
none
the
of these.
one. None of them.
I mean,
No,
it's Joe
because the
Colton.
Invader isn't even on the list.
White Vegeta says Marine, so we got one vote for Marine. But I gotta say,
I mean,
Soldier
we
makes the
love
most
all
sense.
4 of them, but I think
That's
Joe
right.
Colton was, when they did the 30th anniversary and they introduced him as Joe Colton, that was, he was the Army, he was a soldier. That's G.I. Joe.
That recognition cemented it.
Yeah,
for sure.
So
as a legacy thing.
Yeah. But it wasn't Invader like Super Joe era?
It was.
Yeah, okay.
Well-
Yes, excuse me.
We'll get to that.
But actually,
One day.
After we discuss the weird, busted way that Hasbro presented this, we will get into the way that Audible Interlude would and will present this. Because there will be an Audible Interlude Hall of Fame. Because I was already thinking about ripping that idea off from the Major Wrestling Figure podcast. So now we just have more of an excuse to do it. So next up, again, obvious choice, 1982, Real American Hero, first year of Real American Hero. But which of these figures is the standard bearer, is the signature 1982 figure that goes into the Hall of Fame? Bergie, I'll let you start this time.
Oh, man. Well, 82, this is so hard. There's 3 choices for different reasons in my head.
Okay.
One, if we're basing it on like the standard bearer, you think who is the soldier, who is it? It's Grunt. Okay.
Oh,
But
yeah.
he was in the corner box of all the Marvel comics. He was the troop. He was the GI. He was the guy, Grunt. But obviously, then you got the 2 big guns, Snake Eyes and Cobra Commander.
Oof.
Which you can make amazing arguments for either one. Obviously, Snake Eyes is phenomenal because Snake Eyes, the character, the figure, no paint apps. It's like, wow, he was the cheap one to produce and he became the most popular. But Cobra Commander is so distinct. The villain, the shape of Cobra, full color figure, he had paint apps. He was amazing. Very distinct. Like the chrome, his design, after years and years and years and years, like Cobra Commander, that faceplate Cobra Commander. And I love Snake Eyes, and it is G.I. Joe, so it is the good guys. But I think I got to go Cobra Commander.
Wow.
I think I have to pick him for 82. It's really hard. Because you know what? The one true first ever Hall of Fame G.I. Joe, it's got to be the 60s soldier. So that's covered. 82. They're all great. It's hard. But yeah, I guess I got to go Coco.
I like your process. Wreckship85, unsurprisingly, says I will shoehorn Shipwreck 3 years earlier onto this list as a poorly scribbled in option at the bottom. Otherwise, though, he says rock and roll. Will R says Cobra Commander. Kristian, I am dying to hear your process here.
So this is absolutely not a Sophie's choice for me, and I appreciate the emotional struggle, that Word Burglar had.
It's true. Thank you. Someone does.
But when I look at this list and I go, okay, it's Rock and Roll Scarlet Cobra Commander, a toy line out of the gate is only as good as its villain. So it's Cobra Commander hands down, because without him, how would Snake Eyes have been popular? Like, you have no one to fight. And Chris Latta, like the look of the 82 Cobra Commander, the way he was portrayed in the comics and the cartoon, just everything about it is iconic. And we've seen from other Joe lines, extreme blah 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 blah. You don't have G.I. Joe without Cobra Commander.
It's the greatest evil terrorist organization of anything in anything.
It's very
Cobra
true.
is the best.
So this is really tough. First of all, for me, Snake Eyes is disqualified because technically while Snake Eyes is pretty much the most universally recognized character from G.I. Joe, he's disqualified because in 1982, Snake Eyes was an afterthought. And that, to me, takes him out of contention. I agree that Grunt and Cobra Commander are the other two contenders from this year as far as they're not, because I'm not talking favorite figures. Favorite figures for me would be Stalker and we'd be done. But if we're talking iconic Hall of Fame figures, like Word Burglar said, Grunt was in all the art. He was in all the licensed stuff, like the color forms and everything else.
He was a color form.
Literally the face of G.I. Joe.
Yep.
However, Cobra Commander is, I think, as integral to this franchise as any other character, perhaps more integral. And that figure, the look of it, the style of it is so iconic that to this day, people are still angry that we don't have that Cobra Commander in the current G.I. Joe line.
Any of those Joes on that list make a hairdryer deadly? No. But Cobra Commander did.
So yeah, I got to go with Cobra Commander for 82.
Yeah.
Noel?
I'm going to make it unanimous. That was the first time I looked at this list. That was the first thing that popped in my head. I was right on the same way with those three. Grunt, because he's the face of the franchise, obviously, and then Snake Eyes, because he became the most popular character. But yeah, I was thinking the same way. I was never a big Snake Eyes guy, and that figure in 82 wasn't what made Snake Eyes what he is.
Right.
It was his characterization and all that too. Cobra Commander, obviously, it was that characterization, both by Larry Hama and by what they did in Sunbow with the voice and everything. So that's what makes him so iconic. But the figure itself it stood out so much in that line. Whenever I'm in a costume as just generic Cobra Trooper, everyone looks at me and goes, Cobra Commander, because that's what people know about G.I. Joe.
Right.
Oh man.
It's one thing when you're in a Viper costume and you've got the silver plate, but no, I'm just in my regular Cobra costume, and that's what I get because people know Cobra Commander. Even people who don't, like, they might not know Snake Eyes, but they'll know Cobra Commander.
Well, it's like when I still worked under the wrestling mask and everybody would think I was Rey Mysterio, even though I'm 6'4" and wearing a suit, because that's what people know. And same thing with Cobra Commander. That's what people know. All right. So Cobra Commander, Hall of Fame, 1982. And now we get to the weird portion of this where Hasbro is wanting us to select for the Hall of Fame the best figure from 2024, where there are a bunch of figures on this list that we don't have yet.
Yeah.
I just thought this was, and I get it. They're trying to promote current product. They want to make 2024 a part of the conversation. They want to generate excitement for the current classified line. Like, I totally understand why they did it this
Gretchen,
way.
stop trying to make 2024 happen. It will happen in 30 years when enough time has passed.
So needless to say, Audible Interlude will not be using this same format that Hasbro did, but since this is what we have in front of us, out of what has made it into our hands thus far, what would you say is your pick from this list? And the thing that has blown my mind more than anything, and I mentioned it before, the Stinger for me is the, as of now, the standout release from the classified series for 2024. That's what I'm going with. And there's a little bit of halo effect there. I'm not going to lie. Like, it's the most recent thing that I've gotten, but it really did, because I dug the Vamp. I thought the Vamp was great, but there were a couple little things that I would have done differently. But the Stinger out of the box was, I love it. I absolutely love it. I might love it a little bit more than the Hiss, to be honest. So for me, I'm going Stinger. Oh, look at it. Will R. Easy Retro Duke done. And Retro Duke is great. Fantastic release. Absolutely. White Vegeta says Stalker representing the diversity of this line. Absolutely. He was important early on. Having that black character in 1982 was huge.
And if you listen to our episode with the Larry Hama panel, we learned that bottom blurb of someone talking about the character on the file cards, he pictured it was Stalker doing that, not Hawk.
Right.
So in his mind, it was always Stalker who led the team.
Well,
so
and he very matter of,
you are absolutely onto something.
He very matter of factly said, "Oh, Stalker's the leader." Like, to him. And that was very interesting. It was a great interview. If you have not listened to our panel with Larry Hama and Andrew Lee Griffith yet, give it a listen. It's great.
That was one of my favorite revelations from it, was hearing Larry confirm that after we had speculated for so long reading those file cards.
That it was Hawk, right?
Yeah.
But he said Stalker.
That's interesting. Well, in the comics, it was always, Stalker was always implied that he was there right at the beginning, right? He helped Hawk put the team together. Like, he was
the field commander. I mean, he was the guy.
Yeah.
All right. So looking at this list, let's go Kristian. Out of what we have thus far, what would you put into this Hall of Fame?
So it is with much protest that I voted on this one, because I just don't, classified as too new. But out of that list, hands down, it's Clutch.
Oh,
Clutch
okay.
with the Vamp, okay. But I had not a single critique about the Clutch figure.
Yeah.
Amazing. From the face sculpt, accessories. Yeah. So he would be my pick.
Bergie, what about you?
Man, I'm thinking hard. It's funny, like, I have a lot open, and like, I've got my Airborne open, but he's last year, right?
Oh, he's on this list.
He's on this list.
Oh, Airborne's on this
he's
list?
on here.
Yeah. Like, so it's funny because some of them I've opened, some I'm still like, I love Retro Recondo. He's like the card.
Yeah.
I mean, I had, Recondo as a kid.
He scratches an itch.
Yeah. I think
It's
I may have.
Poison Oak.
Yeah. I might go Airborne just out of a connection to the original. I think we talked about Airborne. I'm having deja vu.
Yeah.
But, I wish he came with a bit more accurate, like, weaponry, and his gun's different than his original gun. Like, but They might do a retro airborne. That would be pretty sweet. Maybe they've announced it. I'm not up on all the like announcements.
They haven't said
coming
anything
out.
yet, but I could 100% see it
Yeah,
happen. But I feel like the colors on the classified airborne are fantastic and
Yeah.
make him stand out.
Yeah.
Like if you've got him on a shelf with the rest of classified, he still manages to stand out and has that classic palette.
Yeah,
And
just
check
like the
out
original.
the gridiron accessory pack
Oh,
for him.
I will do that.
With
Well, there you go.
yeah, I
That'll
cannot
get me his
wait.
proper gear. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Rich,
So I think
we got a couple
airborne.
of-
Yeah.
Airborne.
Yeah.
All right, we got a couple of
There's
good
a lot of great
observations.
figures on it. It's hard to.
You're right. Look, and that's the bottom line is pretty much all classified is good. Like
Yeah.
it just is. Rexship85 says the list just makes me sad because this indicates Hasbro doesn't think Nemesis Immortal will come out in 2024. Yeah, that is. Well, I think chances are what's going to happen is he's going to be a pre-order at 10/27, and then we'll end up getting him in like February or March or something. Rachel Salinas says Tiger Force Wreckage.
wow.
Not totally what I expected out of the figure, but a great figure. Another one that sort of stands out in a cool way. Rexship85 also says SCC and TG is 140. So that is Steel Core Commander and Twilight Guard is 140 when Pulse says it's 141. Oh, that's an interesting observation. Noel, do you still have Pulse up?
I can bring it back up.
While we're moving along, Rachel says want to vote Range Viper, but he's not on the list. I think Range Viper was 2023.
Yeah, he's awesome. Range
But yeah,
Viper.
fantastic figure. I would love to see another repaint of the Range Viper because we got one with the Hiss Fire team, but I would be into another colorway.
We need the flesh colored mask to totally
let's not
creep
get
us
carried
out.
away here.
They should do a Skullbuster.
Oh yeah, they should.
Just build off the Range Viper and do Skullbuster. Yeah.
Steel Core Commander, and is 141. What is 140 then?
Interesting. So yeah, what is 140? Well, while Noel's looking at that, Kristian, did you make a pick? No, you did. Clutch.
I did.
So actually, Noel,
You did.
Noel, you are up next.
So mine and coming through this list, I mean, obviously I want to pick a vehicle because that's really the more bang for the buck. You picked the Stinger, which I love. This guy could have made it, but once again, those weapons being the wrong color drives me crazy. I hate the green weapons on Beachhead.
But if you do a little swap ski between him and Firefly,
Yeah,
then you're good to go.
yeah. But I'll tell you what, that retro Scarlet is gorgeous. I love her so much.
Yeah.
And it's what I've been
Mhm.
wanting in the line for so long. So I'm gonna go with her. I mean, yeah, maybe the Vamp or the Stinger or the Ferret might even be like more fun overall. But like I was really, really happy to get that figure. She's
Yeah,
about as good as you can get.
Really, all three of the first retro figures, Duke Scarlet and Rakondo, were all, as far as I was concerned, knocked it out of the park.
There's nothing that comes up in the search for 140 on Pulse.
Oh, that is interesting. Well, Rexship85 says Nemesis Immortal potentially is supposed to be 140.
That's probably what it is.
with a little monocle emoji, which means it's smart.
Oh, what numbers wants a man Cobra Commander?
He is 130.
Okay, cool.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's.
So if we were going to do a Hall of Fame, let me rephrase that. When we do our Hall of Fame, I don't know that we can do every iteration of G.I. Joe. How do you guys think? I mean, obviously, we're going to include Real American Hero, Classified, and I think when we do our Classified, it'll be just up to date, or maybe up to 2023. Maybe we don't even include this year's releases. They're not eligible until next year. Because for it to be a Hall of Fame, to me, we have to have had the thing in hand for long enough for that halo effect to have worn off, you know?
So
Also, no modern era.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, okay, you know what? Actually, our Hall of Fame, no classified. We cut it off with 50th anniversary,
mhm.
maybe. Because we want to really be Hall of Fame.
I mean, look, if you look at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, you had to have released an album 25 years ago. For
Right.
the Baseball Hall of Fame, you have to have been retired for 5 years. You can't just
Right.
grab something that's on the shelf right now.
Yeah, because classified is just too recent to have a really good idea of what is iconic
Exactly.
and Hall of Fame worthy. So yeah, I say we leave out classified. We cut it off at the 50th, and we'll pick maybe we do look at each era of Joe, because I hate to leave anything out, because everything is somebody's favorite.
I think we do, and the Audible Interlude twist that we put on it after listening to Word Burglar suffer so much, it is you take characters from each era, and then there is one Hall of Fame. I mean, what do we do at Dragon Con? We have our tiers until we get down to one. So you take two characters from each era, and you really have to make a decision.
Well, no, my thought was that we establish an esteemed panel consisting of, say, the four of us and maybe four of our most constant live stream companions. And
the constant companions.
That's right.
Right? Is this why all of a sudden?
This is like Junkyard
and everybody casts ballots, and then we go through and so we would have maybe eight-ish esteemed panelists, and we nominate Firefly, always Firefly, of course.
No. Sorry. That comment popped up.
Well, that's okay. That's a relevant comment as well.
Breaking news: Rattler just broke 25K. Suck it, Dragonfly.
Wow.
And Will R's opinions do not reflect those of Audible Interlude or its employees.
Rexship 85, I think, throwing in to be on the panel, says, I have a tiki bar.
That word.
But no, I think what we do is, 8-ish of us, we all nominate from each category, and then we tally up the votes, and then we figure out who goes in based on that. I think we actually come up with a legitimate process, perhaps for the first time in the history of Audible Interlude. And then we reveal the actual Hall of Fame based on it. We'll figure out a process for that. But yeah, I like the idea. I really would like to include each distinct era of G.I. Joe, because I don't want to leave anything out. I want everybody to feel represented. Even G.I. Joe. People out there love G.I. Joe Extreme. And I think Iron Claw is a shoe-in.
Nobody calls Sigma 6 their favorite G.I. Joe era. Nobody.
Yeah, but people love it. People love it, and people want stuff from it in classified.
Those people are drug addicts.
Oh, stop.
No, I'm kidding.
Stop.
I'm kidding. You all just really love anime like me.
So we are going to figure out a format for our Hall of Fame. We will put together a ceremony. We'll have an official Audible Interlude Hall of Fame ceremony that is as inclusive as it can possibly be. White Vegeta says you can leave out Built to Rule. Noel would riot.
No. Built to Rule is garbage.
No, Built to Rule is your baby. You know you love it.
No.
There was a
but we are getting Mega Constructs apparently. So
there was a dealer at Dragon Con that had one of the Built to Rule sets at a fairly decent price, and I was very on the fence.
Isn't there one unique character in Built to Rule? Is it Hollow Point or something?
Yes.
Yeah. There's one O-ring.
See?
Yeah.
Oh,
see?
I thought it was Mother Shame.
No, if you want to stick your Lego on a Joe, somebody's out there who wants to do that.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
But...
we got something for everybody here. All right. So yeah, Hall of Fame happening. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna tally ballots and votes and all that kind of good stuff. We're gonna make sure everybody has a lot of fun with it. So follow us at Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram. That's probably going to be your best source of information for how to be involved with the Audible Interlude Hall of Fame. Next up, as always, Destro with his banana. Everybody remember, get your daily dose of potassium, according to Audible Interlude. I haven't been doing banners all episode. This has been such an exciting episode, but now you all know it is time to go to the socials for Sound Off, where the Audible Interlude listeners and watchers and whatever else have contributed to what we are going to talk about tonight. And our first Sound Off comes from Silent Interlude. Wave 1 of Super 7 Reaction Plus has been revealed. Who should be in Wave 2? With Super 7, there are usually some deep cuts. So I think we're just going to, each of us will nominate one potential character to be in the second wave of Super 7 Reaction Plus. I think we can probably count on some mainstay characters. But who's just somebody you'd like to see in that second wave? We'll go up top with Bergie first here.
I feel like we had the same question last time when we were talking about the Cobra airship. I gotta say, if they don't tap deep into Sunbow, like, I really love that Raven. They did a Raven, but I wanted it O-ring Raven. I didn't get the figure. If they did a Raven, that would be super cool. But I gotta go with Hector Ramirez.
Oh, yeah. Solid.
Why would you not? It's
Yeah.
like he's the guy with the camera and everything. Yeah. Although it could be a peg warmer at Target, right? Like, everybody 40 plus is going to want one, but
there's no telling. There's no telling how that stuff is going to do. I'm dying to see once they really do get into those Sunbow characters in O-ring form like that. It's going to be very interesting to follow the market on this stuff. I am going to throw out another favorite of the show, somebody we've talked about time and again, who should have been an official member of the G.I. Joe team given their lax recruiting policies, and that is no relation, Miss Honda Lou West. Must have.
Yeah.
We need her.
Yeah, definitely.
Noel?
I want figures of all of the characters from the episode, and they have given us the henchmen already, but I want a games master.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see them do something that's a little bit more upscaled.
Yeah.
But and we when we first got those reports about the Reaction Plus or just Super 7 O-ring at the time, the Raymar was one of the ones that was leaked as part of that wave. So it looks like they are going to be looking at maybe doing some larger scaled figures like that.
Who is in wave 1? Sorry, just so that I'm not up on.
So Big Bad.
Girl.
Hang on, I've got my order up right here because we were going to talk about this. Big Bad Toy Store put up 4 figures, and that was, as this loads, because they accidentally put up the first 4 figures early, which happens sometimes with Super 7 and Big Bad, and I almost wonder if it's sort of a gentle teasing of Brian Flynn, where Big Bad's like, haha, we have these names, and we're just going to go ahead and put this up for a few minutes. But their initial offerings were Cobra Commander cartoon version, a comic book blue Cobra Bat, a comic book Snake Eyes, and a blonde Cover Girl.
And that's what we got the images of, or the actual prototypes for.
Noel, you've turned into a robot again, but it never comes through on the audio, so I'm not worried about it.
Okay.
But yeah, at Joe Fest, we got the figures for Tomax and Zaymot. Have you got them right there in front of you? I can't remember.
The figure for Cover Girl and the Cobra Commander. I think the Bat was the only, or did we see them all?
Yeah, we got those 4 figures that he just mentioned, and we got the Tomax and Zaymot.
Sweet.
Okay. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what wave 1 actually is. 6 to 8 figures perhaps, because if you remember with Reaction, they kind of did the same thing where there were, I believe it was 6 core figures, and then they would have a troop builder with a couple of variation or several variations. And I think they maybe will do something sort of similar with this, where there'll be core figures, and then they'll have maybe, whether it's a retailer exclusive or whatever the case may be, because I don't know about that Tomax and Zaymot 2-pack seemed pretty special. Like, I don't know that I see that just at Target.
No, and it's got the nice mirror packaging and everything. It's a throwback to the original for that. So
you guys tell me in the chat, are you hearing crazy robot voices, or is that just my headset?
I think it's just you, because Noel sounds fine to me.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's all that matters. As long as Noel sounds fine, we're good. Okay, so who did? Oh, yeah.
Real quickly, Wreckship 85, Polly and Timber in Disguise from Pyramid of Darkness, another podcast favorite. White Vegeta coming in with Quinn again, another one that we've mentioned for a long time. And since Dave took my choice, then I think there should be more female representation in Joe, because the female figures have always been really well done. So I'm gonna go with Mara.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
So that I can have Shipwreck get caught flirting with CoverGirl, and Mara turn into the crazy ex-girlfriend villain that she was destined to be.
now, are we getting blue skinned Mara, or are we
Blue
getting
skin
no
Mara.
place like
It's Super 7.
Yeah, you got to
We're
go
getting blue
toyetic.
skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rachel Salinas says Dr. Venom, fantastic choice. I 100% support that. Wreckship 85 says Dusty's sick mom and Mrs. Vasquez. Swordsman 007, Softmaster, Blindmaster, Hardmaster 3-pack.
Yeah,
Excellent
definitely.
choice.
Definitely.
And
with
Will R
opening the
says
comic
Billy.
world is so good. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that they're mixing it up and that we're going to get all these characters in a similar aesthetic and format. Like, we're going to have a Billy that goes with, some of these cartoon characters, like, potentially. Like, that's exciting stuff. That's what I wanted when I was a kid, which is, as Brian Flynn has said again and again, that's what Super 7 does. They give you the stuff that you wanted when you were a kid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Billy would be great. That's a really good pick, the Billy.
Let's see. Next up, bassist Carlos, who may or may not be here in the chat right now, has the funding of the final tier on the Rattler HasLab swayed your decision to join the campaign or your order amount? I will go ahead and jump on this one and say no.
It almost did, because every time I look at that Baroness figure, I am like, my God, she is an amazing looking figure. But then Noel sent that photo showing the scale of the Rattler with all the other vehicles, and I very quickly was snapped out of Wonderland. I was like, oh yeah, you don't have space for this.
I need a garage to park this thing in.
So no.
Yeah, I'd rather save the money and track down a new bug or something.
Yeah.
Not the car, the bug, the Cobra bug. I mean, I know you guys know what I'm talking about. I always need more bugs.
You need that Septo Viper.
I need more Secto Vipers, more bugs. Yeah, it's the best.
I figured that if it was like, because I was a little on the fence, but I think I was definitely leaning more towards everybody else on the show. But if I do wind up having buyer's remorse once it arrives, I'm sure I can just sell it for at least what I paid for it, even if I've opened it up at that point in time. So I'm not too worried about it.
I'm terrified of the shipping to Canada too. It's just
gosh, right? Yeah, that's got to be a consideration for you guys. That's always a thing.
I mean, but I got the hiss. The hiss is incredible. But I've got the original Rattler. It's good. I just
that's
where
I
want to keep stocking up the O-ring guys. So getting all the new O-ring stuff.
I've got as many rattlers as I need at exactly the size that I need them. All right, Tom.Henry. First, I just want everyone to know I was visiting MIL, hit a disc golf hole in one, and then hit a vintage toy store in SJ and picked up a hooded Cobra Commander and Firefly. Great day. Does sound like a great day, Tom Henry. Well done. Does it seem like Target is dropping mainline releases? The current wave is not on the app for me, and they only ever have Retro Duke and 8 of that Python 2-pack with that fugly tripwire that has been shell forming since release. They do seem to have a lot of the tripwire and roadblock 2-pack. I hit my local Target 3 times a week and check the app daily. There has never been a hint of Jinx, Doc, or Night Creeper. And parenthetical, I'll probably pick up that 2-pack when it drops in price. Please release Fang.
I think
I have a question for Tom Henry. Are you related to, or is this an alternate identity for Mandalorian Jedi?
That's what I presumed.
And I actually have an answer for him.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, number one, the Target website sucks. Unless it's a pre-order, don't go on their website looking for any new merchandise because you're not going to find it. As far as the current stuff, every time I visit the stores, I keep thinking of what Brian Flynn talked about, where the major retailers and the online retailers course corrected a little too hard. And I don't think they're buying multiple cases of things. They're buying like a case or two. It sells out. They get another case, whatever's available, because I actually happened on my errands today. Right next to our Ross is a Super Target, and I didn't finish opening her, but that's where I got my Jinx on the shelf, so I could take her out of my pile of loot. And I have seen Doc multiple times, but I already have him, so I wasn't giving it much thought. This is the first time that I've seen Jinx. I've never seen a Night Creeper, so it sucks. I think it's a matter of timing.
Yeah.
Are you there when they're putting the stuff out? Because people know if you see it on the shelf and you don't nab it right then and there, it won't be there when you come back. And if you don't happen to be there within probably the first few hours they put it out, you're not ever going to see it. Hopefully the retailers are course correcting again, because you don't make money if you don't have product on the shelves. But keep trying is all I can say, because they are there.
It seems like, because I've seen this wave in Targets, it seems to me like, and this goes for Target and Walmart, the only things they're interested in, well, no, it does not go for Walmart. Never mind. Strike that from what I just said. It seems that the only things that Target are interested in keeping in stock are their exclusives. Those are what they keep on the pegs, have plentiful supplies of, whereas what you're saying, it seems like they get in maybe a case or two of whatever the current wave is, and once it's gone, that's it.
Except for that Tiger Paw. That thing is elusive.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with that. That's an interesting case, because I believe that's the first Target exclusive since Cobra Island that has had any kind of scarcity issue at all.
Yeah, because I mean, I can walk in there and I can find 8 to 10 of those 2-packs with tripwire and roadblock.
Right.
And I've never seen the Tiger Paw in person, and they're reselling for like $150 to $180.
Wow.
Yeah, and I mean, like, if I see one in the store, I may pick it up, but it's not one that I need.
It'll be interesting to see if maybe those all of a sudden show up around the holidays or something.
Well, and I'm wondering, because that happened with the Trouble Bubbles. Those just kind of all popped up at once, and then
then got
They-
marked down, and then were gone.
Yeah, they sold. Yeah, they got rid of them quick.
Yeah, interesting. So yeah, I mean, look, distribution. Realistically, toy distribution has been a problem for over 20 years now. It just has. If you're a collector of any line, there are things that are just a pain. They just are. And it's always going to be that way because the retailers are weird with how they get stuff. You look at I often will go back to Mattel's wrestling lines as to how distribution goes. Look at Target's WWE Legends line, that every single wave is plentiful in every Target to the point where they get marked down, versus Walmart's Monday Night Wars line, that or any of Walmart's exclusive WWE lines, where like the first wave just shows up and sits forever, and then you never see anything beyond that. Like, there's just no telling what each retailer is going to do. We glitched out for a second, got to restart. Yeah, we'll just go back to the beginning. Yeah, I'm having some weird robot voice problems. That's all right. We don't have much left to go. We're going to move right on to Sneezy the Squid. So we just cleared Dragon Con, which it is my personal mission at life at some point to get Word Burglar to Dragon Con. If I have to drive to Canada and get him myself, if I have to drive a Buzzbore up to Canada, Buzzbores don't have a lot of space. Let me rephrase. Let me find a different vehicle. If I have to drive a Stinger up to Canada to pick up Word Burglar and drive him back to Dragon Con, we're going to make it happen.
Yes, I gotta go. My
Yeah.
friend Cybertronic Spree went down there. And,
Yes.
I play with them here when we always do the fan expo here in Toronto, and they're good friends. I've done tours with them. They're on tour now. If they come to your town, check them out.
They were in Atlanta Dragon Con weekend, but were not at Dragon Con, which I thought was a bold decision.
Well, and apparently that's because Dragon Con's not wanting to have the same musicians there every year.
Right.
So
they got look. I
didn't-
get it. They got to
yeah.
keep it fresh. But yeah,
they'll
we've
probably
had
get invited
Cybertronic
again next
Spree.
year.
We've had
Yeah.
Cybertronic Spree. We've had Mega Ran. We need Word Burglar.
Well, I'll tell you, both of those groups are good friends of mine. So maybe if they can sneak me in, I'll come down. I got to get down there. So it looks amazing. I saw the cosplay looked crazy. Saw so much
It's
GI
nuts.
Joe cosplay there. I couldn't believe it.
There's you have never been to a party like Dragon Con. It is
Right.
it is wild. So Sneezy the Squid, our good pal Gary from the Dragon Con American Sci-Fi Classics track, says we just cleared Dragon Con. What was the best thing you guys saw there? I will answer this one first and say the best thing that I saw was the family that I have made based around the game show that we do, the Big Damn Game Show. Us working together to once again create what I think was the best thing that happened at Dragon Con. Every year getting to see everybody come together to put that game show on is the best thing that I see. And that is a fact. Noel,
Well,
Kristian,
not
you guys were there.
knowing if we're going to have time for Joe and Tell, when I was thinking about this, there was an artist that Dave and I met on the Friday. of
Yes,
Dragon
yes.
Con before our Larry Hama panel. Big fan of G.I. Joe. And when I went back on Monday to see him again, because he's going to do a custom piece for me, he was wearing Audible Interlude merchandise. But what caught our eye?
Oh, I love it.
So shout out to Stitch Tunes, because he draws Stitch as all your favorite characters, and he had a whole line of Stitch as G.I. Joe characters. But this Serpentor is like
That's
one of the
amazing.
greatest pieces of artwork
Yeah,
that I own until I get my shipwreck from him.
that's awesome. All right, Noel, did you have a favorite Dragon Con thing?
I mean, there's there's so many amazing things that always happen every weekend that I'm there, and it all comes at me. But I'll go back to just getting Larry back at Dragon Con, Larry Hama back,
Yeah.
and him coming out. He did the parade, which I did not participate in this year because I decided my Saturday mornings are worth sleeping in for. But he did come out to the the G.I. Joe photo shoot on Sunday. So we got him out there again for it. I did my Tiger Force Outback for that one. And now I'm happy because I got to trim this beard down after Dragon Con. I was
you were
happy.
looking pretty woolly for a while there.
I
It was
grew that thing out
impressive.
for about 7 or 8 weeks, so I could get the full like grizzled old veteran look there.
I
just getting
absolutely
him there.
regret being delayed. I guess I should say trapped is probably too mean. And not making it to the Joe shoot, because when I saw the photos, you looked amazing
Oh, thank you.
as Tiger Force Outback.
Which was
The
the most
beard was worth it.
represented character at the shoot this year was Outback. We had
Right?
1 standard and 2 Tiger Force Outbacks.
That's hilarious. Well, as Kristian sort of pointed out, Joe and Tell is going to have to be a collapsible segment this time because we are out of time. But before we go, Word Burglar, we know you've got the new single out. Tell us what's going on with that. Where can we find it? Where can we find you? What are you up to?
Wordburglar.com will have a direct link to the new single, War and Wardrobe. It's currently only on Bandcamp with the bonus remix, and it will be on all platforms soon. I think in about 2 weeks, it's going to show up if you're on other, whatever, Apple, Spotify, everything else. There is a lyrics version if you just want to rap along or do karaoke. It's on YouTube. Just type in War and Wardrobe, Word Burglar, you'll find it. And I'll be at Assembly Required in Iowa in November. I guess the War and Wardrobe is the first song in this new album that I'm currently working on called Revenge of Cobra Island.
Yes.
Is it's all themed around the Popples, and because they
Just
deserve
stole
a
my
concept
heart.
album. Yeah, those are weird ass creatures. You flip them inside out, and their guts are bouncing around the walls. It was weirded me out back then. It weirds me out now.
I have been waiting for the Popples hip hop connection my entire life. I'm so glad that
Listen,
finally.
if we can have Chap Hop, we can have Pop Hop.
That's right.
Yo, Popples versus Wuzzles. It's real.
Oh man, that's next year on the classics
Those
track.
were the
That's
ungodly beasts, right? What was it, like a lion mixed with like a bumblebee or something?
Yes.
Yeah, and a lizard.
It was
and
the
wolf.
rejects from
Right?
Moana Beast combinations.
Anyways, so Popples Wuzzles concept album coming soon.
Excellent.
But
Can't
always
wait.
working on tons of cool stuff. Got a comic book in the works for Kickstarter, and a couple of little top secret things cooking. But really excited, and thank you for having me. It's always super fun. I learn something. I laugh at everything, and I leave with a smile. So thanks.
That's
Joe.
If we can give everybody a laugh, then that's what we're here for. Noel, tell us a little bit about The Finest.
The Finest is an international G.I. Joe costuming group, and we raise money for a great organization called Canines for Warriors, who, of course, pairs rescue dogs with veterans. On the subject of animals, I have to say that Wuzzles were the inspiration for Transformers Beast Wars Fusors, I have to say. If you remember those abominations from late in the Beast Wars run. But yes, you can check out The Finest on thefinestcc.com or the Finest Recruitment Center on Facebook. Sorry, I had to do an aside there.
I love it.
That's solid.
Is that actual canon? Is it like how the Battle Beasts? Because Battle Beasts are Transformers canon. So
Transformers, yes, they are. And I actually also used to think, because my sister had some Popples, and I was like, they're just like Transformers for girls, right? That's what these are. But they all transform into just balls because they have no creative drive behind them.
We'll get into that when we do our Wuzzles verse episode.
Maybe instead of GoBots versus Transformers for my push for Dragon Con next year, Wuzzles versus Popples.
Yeah, that's solid.
Yeah.
Actually, were Wuzzles and Hasbro, and Popples were Mattel. Is that correct?
Is that right? That sounds feasible to me.
No, I think Popples were Hasbro.
Are they like?
Let's see. Wuzzles. Wuzzles were Disney, which
Correct.
means they were probably Mattel. I'm trying to find the toy line because, of course, everything is about the cartoon for some strange reason.
Popples were American Greetings.
Huh.
That's
Oh.
who created them, but as far as who, because same thing with Care Bears.
Those
Care
characters
Bears
from
were
Cleveland.
American Greetings. Kenner made the toys. Also, Strawberry Shortcake, American Greetings. Kenner made the toys.
So it looks like Hasbro currently owns the license, but they were originally those characters from Cleveland, American Greetings.
Mhm.
Oh, like same as
Whoa.
Mad Balls.
Yeah,
We are learn-
2018 is when they were sold to Hasbro.
So are they all in the same universe? Mad Balls and Popples and like My Pet
100%.
Monster? Are they like
Yeah.
This is
Absolutely.
the multiverse that we needed.
Yeah.
Popples, that when you turn them inside, they become Mad Balls.
Oh
man.
my gosh, Popples Mad Balls. Let's go. That would be better than the Mad Balls figures.
Pop balls.
I don't
Oh,
need
man.
head popping Mad Balls. I
No.
need Popples Mad Balls. And
That's
whenever we
crazy.
get them, Kristian, your toy photography.
Yes. So I'm gonna have to. I'm sorry. Noel opened the gate, so I gotta say,
Pandora's
going-
Pop.
going in high school in Kentucky, your senior year, when you have to take standardized testing to determine if you can go on to college, one of the things that you have to know is that a wuzzle means to mix. And me and my friends, that stuck with us because we all knew that cartoon. So wuzzles. But yes, you can find me on Instagram under the codename Legion Cub.
I just want to
Wow.
mention. I just want to mention as we rather
Wuzzle
than
knowledge got me to college.
here's what we're gonna
Nice.
do. Normally we sign off with a hearty yo Joe, but instead I'm gonna throw out some Wuzzles names to close out this episode. There's Bumble Lion, Ellaroo, Butterbear, Moosel,
Moosel, the best one.
Hoppopotamus, Rhino Key, and then the antagonists, Crocosaurus, Flizzard, and Brat.
Brett?
Brett.
Brett. Yeah, Brett. Brett. Just a blonde-haired college dude who was just a jerk to the good Wuzzles. The Wuzzle Brett. No, we've got to do a Yojo. Thank you all for hanging out. Everybody here in the chat, thank you for contributing everything that you do and hanging out with Audible Interlude. Word Burglar, you rule. Thank you so much for coming on again. And until next time, Yo Joe.
Glitch.
Brett.